Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket, excellent.
An asymmetrical twin. Dropping and sinking.
Notice how
So just notice. Joining us for the second episode next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 24. I'm here with my good friend Ninka from yogabliss.me, and we're going to be doing a class. Actually, we're going to do a series now. I'm really excited over the next 8 weeks, and we'll see how it goes from there. Working with some of the gods and goddesses and deities from Hindu mythology. And one thing that you'll probably may know or may not know is that in Hindu mythology there are tons and tons of gods and goddesses, and in our Western culture this can feel a little strange because we, especially if you were raised Christian, we're raised to believe that there's only one God and to worship any other god is a sin, and so it can sit a little funny to have all these gods and goddesses within Hindu mythology and to start to work with them. So there's a couple of ways that we can work with this just to ease your fears a little bit. One is that in Hindu mythology, they still believe in this overarching god, the Brahman. And the idea is that all these multiple deities are like manifestations or aspect of that one larger umbrella of the overall all-important God. The other thing is that when we work with the deities, it's not necessarily to worship them or pray to them. What we can do is work with them in a way that we can start to cultivate their attributes and characteristics within us, or begin to recognize those attributes as they already exist in us. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be starting with Ganesh, and Ganesh is known as the remover of obstacles, and it's very auspicious to start any project with Ganesh. If you look at any chanting CD, they'll always start with a Ganesh CD. If you go to Kirtans, you'll start with a Ganesh chant. At the beginning of Gertrude Hirsch's Mudra book, she starts with the Ganesh Mudra that we'll do today. So it's very auspicious to start with Ganesh. In Hindu homes, they'll often have a Ganesh at the front door to remove obstacles as you go into the space. So we're going to be talking a lot about Ganesh today and how that can relate to our own lives. Anything you want to add to that right now? Yeah, so Ninka just says Ganesh is at her front door. It doesn't have to be a Hindu home. So, and also you're probably checking out our new t-shirts here. We have a new sponsor for our clothing. We got these fabulous t-shirts which are going to be available on my website, melissawest.com or namasteyoga.tv, and they're comfortable, aren't they? They're so soft, and the colors are going to look great on video. And if you can check it out behind. These are our sponsors, Prima Clothing, and the great thing about Prima and why we wanted to go with them is that they create solutions for various organizations like ourselves, or if you have your own yoga studio, they'll print up t-shirts for you with your own logo. So that was the other reason why we really wanted to go with them. So we're really excited about this partnership. So it's the start of a new thing, right? Another new thing today. Okay, so how about we get started and do some yoga? You can go ahead and rest back and we'll do some centering. Okay, so allow yourself to begin to settle in and feel the back of the body against the ground. Ganesh is associated with the root chakra, and the root chakra, it has to do with grounding and finding your place in this world and having your home or being at home in this world. So just allow yourself to start to become at home in your body here and against the ground. And notice what parts of the body are really sinking into the ground at the back of the body. So feeling the back of the head, the back of the shoulders, the backs of the ribs. the back of the pelvis, the legs, the feet, and the arms. And just notice what parts of the body are really sinking and dropping into the ground, and maybe parts that feel a little more held, embraced. And then begin to follow your breath. And the breath can be a wonderful tool in grounding. So as you begin to follow your breath, start to bring most of the focus to the breath out, to the exhalation. So that each time you exhale, you can drop into the ground a little bit more. Release and let go. The dropping and sinking. And then I want you to begin to tune in to your thoughts, your mind, and your spirit, and this idea of obstacles, and also this idea of connecting with our inner wisdom. So not only is Ganesh known as the remover of obstacles, but Ganesh is also known as a god of wisdom and knowledge, and there's a real strength behind that. So we can start to tune into those aspects of ourselves. Perhaps it would be really great, and I would love to do this today, to bring to mind any obstacles you might be experiencing in your own life right now. And those obstacles could be physical, they could be emotional, and they could be obstacles on the spiritual path as well. So Ganesh loves to assist people to remove obstacles on their spiritual path as well. So just tune in and notice what it is for you. And I'm going to give you a little story and an example that I've been using all week to talk about how we can work with Ganesh. So when I came home from leading a yoga retreat this just past weekend, I came home to renovations underway in our home, and there was a whole other kitchen within our existing kitchen, and then this extra kitchen was kind of spilling out over into the living spaces and blocking doors and all sorts of things. And so that was a very unsettling physical obstacle that was in my home. And so the next morning I told my husband that I was going to play Ganesh chants until the obstacles were gone from my home. And my husband said to me, does that mean I should leave now then? And I thought that was so funny. I laughed and laughed. And I think that just goes to show that it wasn't just the physical obstacles in my home. It was my own kind of emotional blocks and thought processes around it. And just right there, by him making those jokes and making me laugh and smile, it allowed me to let go of that a little bit. So that was already starting to shift and change. So that's just one of the ways that it can work. So bringing to mind what sort of obstacle that you would like to work with in the context of this class. So I actually think we'll begin to stretch and wiggle a bit, and as we do our yoga, I'll tell you some more Ganesh stories and some more things about Ganesh. So wiggling and stretching, and we'll stay lying on our backs to start. We're going to do a lot of grounding postures today because, as I mentioned, Ganesh is associated with the root chakra. So we'll begin by drawing the right knee into the chest, okay? And this posture connects with the ascending hole, and that's why we do the right leg first. So Ganesh is the deity, the Hindu deity with an elephant head and a human body. And it said that the elephant head represents the Atman, or the soul, and the human body represents our human experience here in this world. And Ganesh has this wonderful big fat pot belly because it said that Ganesh loves sweets. So just like me, like Ninka, we relate to Ganesh. We love our chocolate. And what I think, there's sort of two themes, metaphors around that he loves sweets. He carries a sweet in his trunk, in his elephant trunk, which is in the shape of an Om. So the two kind of metaphors around that is that, number one, you can indulge in the sweetness of life while on the spiritual path. And the other one is that it really encourages us to recognize the sweetness of our spiritual nature, of our soul, when we're doing our spiritual work, which I think is so beautiful too. Okay, let's release this right leg. And just feel the difference between the right and the left legs. Feeling that right leg really sinking and dropping into the ground. And so that's the sensation. Also, my right leg feels way longer. And that's really the sensation of grounding. If you think about your legs like a root system reaching into the earth, this leg is more rooted now. Okay, so let's draw the left leg in. So maybe just considering when the last time was that you connected with yourself, the sweetness of yourself, your true self, your Atman, your soul, your higher self. When was the last time you connected with the sweetness of that? And then we'll release that left leg down now. And then what we're going to do is draw the right leg in again. And I'm going to have you hold on the hamstring behind the knee. And I want you to really stay connected between the top of the leg and the torso. And we're going to inhale here and we'll exhale, lengthen out through the back of the right leg while maintaining that connection between the top of the leg and the torso. And then you'll inhale and bend again. So I came up with this version at the beginning of this week, and it was another example of Ganesh and removing obstacles, because one of my students very kindly offered to take some of my yoga props home from the retreat, and I didn't have them yet. So we worked with this one instead, and I liked it so well I've kept it all week instead of doing that, the one with the strap and the Supta Pendingustasana one. So it's nice, it's good, right? Sometimes obstacles help us to find better ways around things. Okay, and then we'll lower that right leg down and lengthen that right leg out. And just feel the length on that leg compared to the other leg. And then we'll draw the left leg in, hugging behind the knee, hugging that leg into the chest and really keeping that connection between the back of the leg. And we'll inhale here and exhale, extend through the back of the leg. So sometimes we're presented with physical obstacles. So, you know, as probably all of you know ad nauseum now, I have a physical obstacle in my body with an SI joint injury right now. And so that always, our cameraman's yawning. Even Nink is yawning. Everybody's bored with this. But these physical objects and limitations, they do teach us how to find other ways around. And it's said that Ganesh will remove obstacles on our path, but in a way that allows us to find our own way around them, to connect with our inner wisdom and do what's right for us. Okay, so after the next one, you can lengthen that leg out and just notice what your connection to the ground is like now compared to when we first started. Then we'll bend the knees and place the feet flat on the floor. And we're going to do bridge pose, and bridge pose with an intention of really grounding. So it doesn't have to be a big, huge heart opener, but more connection to the ground with the feet. So sinking the feet into the ground, and like here, it feels like spring and the ground is really soft. And when you step on it, the feet sink into it. So you can really sink your feet into the ground and let the pelvis lift off. Great. And you can see here, one thing that tends to happen in this pose for students, which neither Ninka and I are doing, is the knees go out like this. But they need to be parallel, and it can be useful to place a block between the knees. That could be really useful. And then we'll slowly lower down. And we'll start by bringing the knees into the chest here. And we'll actually move right from knees to chest into happy baby pose. So to hold on to the outside or the inside edges of the feet and just gently rock yourself here. Okay, and then we'll shake our arms and our legs. So this kind of shaking the arms and the legs really helps us get into our bodies. And when we get into our bodies, we're more grounded. So the more sort of spiritual work we're doing, we need to be really grounded. I cannot tell you how many times my teachers say to me that, Melissa, you need to be more grounded for the work you're doing. So that's probably true for a lot of people that are watching this too. Plus, it's fun and energizing. Okay, so once you're done that, you could either rock yourself up or roll to your side and come up to seated. And actually, maybe we'll just go right into, we'll do it when we're standing. What was I going to do next? Oh, I was going to do cat pose. So let's do some cat pose, just to release the spine. And even in cat pose, we can bring our focus and awareness to grounding by really spreading our fingers wide and connecting the palms of our hands to the ground and really sinking through the shins and the tops of the feet. So we'll exhale and round and inhale and extend. Okay, and then we're going to tuck the toes under at the back, and we're going to come back into a squat where the heels are right underneath the sit bones and pointing straight ahead. And Is she in the shot? No, come on in the shot. Yeah, so here the feet are pointing straight ahead, and you can open your knees and let your body come in the middle. And your heels may be able to get on the ground here, but not mine today. Yeah, so I don't know. My teacher always taught this, really encouraging the stance, like underneath the hips. So there are definitely more than one way of doing it, and but prenatal, right? We always teach prenatal with a big wide stance. So, it might be curious for you to try both ways. The benefit, I think, of doing it this way with the feet parallel is that it's really going to open up the Achilles and back in behind in the soleus and things like that, probably a little more than the feet wide. So it always goes back to what your intention is and what you're intending to get out of the pose. So we're trying to ground here. Ninka makes a good point. You can always make room for Ganesh's belly. I love that. Okay, and then we're going to just sit back and bring your legs out in front of you, and we're going to do the foot series. And I don't think I've done this on tape before. Maybe I have for Namaste Yoga, but I'm not sure. So let's start with the feet out long, and you can hold your hands behind you to hold you up. That's totally fine. We're just going to start by bending the toes forward and back. So we'll move the whole feet or the whole foot next, but just bend those toes forward and back. Does it more on the right than the left? Oh, look at that. No? Oh. So this will help you. Spread your toes, yeah. Okay, then the whole foot down and the whole foot back. Yes, so that is really common that you'll feel like you're going to get a cramp. So that means that's too hard an edge. You need to back off a bit, right? You don't want to give yourself a foot cramp. Some people here will be able to put their toes all the way to the ground. So if you can, yeah, especially kids who have done gymnastics or dance, if you've got that kind of a background, yeah, they can. You should see if Effinine can. Haley. And if she can, she'll probably work towards doing it. That's Ninka's daughter. Okay, we'll circle the feet then. And circle the other way. And circle so the feet meet in the center. And circle so they come around the other way. We were playing with doing some brain stuff yesterday, one going one way. And then the other going the other way. And switch. Aren't we clever? Okay, so you can work on that. Any kind of stuff where both legs go opposite. Then you're going to take one leg and cross it over. It doesn't matter which. We'll do both. You're going to circle the ankle here. And then circle the other way. I should have done the other one first, so you'll be able to see better. So you're good doing that one. All right, so then what you're going to do is spread the toes nice and wide, and you're going to have your palm on the sole of the foot, and you're going to put your fingers between the toes. See, this will learn your toes to spread. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah. You can Ninka's saying you can put those pedicure dividers on your toes. That's a really good thing. Yeah, just you build up the time you can do it for. Okay, and then we'll release that foot and just feel the difference between that foot and the other foot. And also you can see that foot's pinker. There's more circulation in it. Okay, so we'll do the other foot. Circling. Circling the other way. And then the fingers between the toes. And this too, if you've been in winter where you live like we have here, the feet are bound all winter in shoes and socks and slippers and boots, and so they tend to be tighter at this time of year than if we do it in the summer and you're wearing flip-flops and bare feet more. Okay. Did you like that? Okay, so that's the foot series. Oh, and your feet feel so good after. Doesn't that feel good? Okay, so now we're going to check in on that squat again, because we'll see what happened after you do the squat, after you do the foot series and come into the squat again. Do your heels feel closer to the ground? Yeah. The bottom of my foot just feels softer. They are closer to the ground. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's a good idea. My heels are on the ground. That's a great idea. You just need to grab a partner. Oh, that feels good too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. We are, but I'm going to make you do something else first. Okay, so you can release. And we're going to do Parsvottanasana, the standing forward folding pyramid. And, you know, Ninka made me do this yesterday in class, so I don't feel one little bit bad that I'm going to make her do it today. So we're going to do it from kneeling. I like to do it from kneeling with the left heel in front of the right. And we're going to do the short stance one with the toes pointing straight ahead. Curling the right toes under at the back. We'll breathe in. We'll breathe out and straighten out through both legs. And then we'll breathe in and bend again. And we'll go back and forth. So this tracking is so good for the knees. Yeah.
Feeling from yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You do it all week and then you come and do it on video too. It's something else. Okay, and then we'll switch the legs. So the right foot will come in front. Just a nice short stance. And we'll breathe in here. Breathe out, straighten. Hello, right leg. Breathe in, bend. Is your right leg tighter than your left too? Oh, listen to those knees. Breathing and moving. Really good for the knee joints, really lubricates them. Do one more. Good. And then just walk that back leg in and you can roll up to standing. Okay. Whew. We survived that. You can be happy at home that we did a lot of that this week, so you didn't have to suffer through too much of it today. Okay, so we're going to work with this Ganesh mudra, just standing in Tadasana. So take a moment, look down at your feet, look at the inside edges of the feet, make sure they're parallel, spread those toes nice and wide. How's the toe spreading going? It's coming. I had a yoga teacher once. Toe envy. Yeah, me too. I had a yoga teacher once that honestly, if she wanted to, she probably could have played piano with her toes. She would go do 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 do. Okay, so let's stand in Tadasana, lengthen the legs long out of the pelvis. So again, that rooting, those deep roots, strong deep roots, big roots into the ground. And then we're going to take your hands and you're going to hook them with the left hand facing out. Okay, and we're going to breathe, and this will be at the level of the heart. Okay, yeah. So keep the shoulders relaxed and broad and wide. And we'll breathe in here. We'll breathe out, pull apart. Breathing in, soften the grip. Breathe out, pull apart. Breathe in, soften. Breathe out, pull apart. Breathe in, soften. Breathe out, pull apart. Breathe in, soften. Breathe out, pull apart. One more, breathe in, soften. Breathe out, pull apart. And then breathe in, soften, and you'll just bring that to rest against your heart. And I'm going to tell you a little story, a very well-known story that has to do with Ganesh. So Ganesh's parents are Shiva and Shakti. And Shiva and Shakti are the rulers of the universe. Shakti comes in as Parvati when she's Shiva's wife. So we'll just call them Shiva and Shakti because that's a little easier for me right now. So Shiva and Shakti are the rulers of the universe. And as you could understand, that's quite an exhausting job. You guys probably try to rule your own universe. You know how tiring that can be. So they decided they wanted a day off. And so they thought, well, we'll get one of our sons to take over the job of ruling the universe for a day. Only they had 2 sons, and they didn't know how to choose which son. So what they decided to do was to have a contest. And the contest was to see who could get around the universe the fastest. It was going to be a race. And when Ganesh heard this, he got really worried because, as you know, Ganesh has this big elephant head and big elephant ears and a big pot belly because he loves his sweets. So he's not that quick or nimble or agile at all. And his brother is very athletic and slim and agile and fast. And Ganesh just thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to win this race. What am I going to do? So the race started, and of course his brother took off around the universe. So Ganesh sat back and he connected with that inner wisdom and knowledge to try to figure out what to do. So Ganesh eventually came up with a solution while his brother was out going around the universe still racing around. He decided that what he would do was walk around his parents, Shiva and Shakti. So he did that. He started walking at a very leisurely pace around them, declaring that the universe was no more or no less than his parents, Shiva and Shakti. And as the story goes, all the gods and goddesses and deities applauded and Ganesh won. Great story, right? So I think that story is so great in so many ways because it helps us to take a step back, to connect with our own inner wisdom, and find ways around our obstacles. Okay, so let's release the hands and maybe just do a little bit of a shoulder roll here. And let's do tree pose. So you can choose which leg you want to stand on first. Lengthen that leg down. You can have the opposite leg with toes on the ground or on the inner calf or above the knee on the inner thigh. So just not on the knee joint, either above or below the knee joint. And we could do the Ganesh mudra again at the heart in tree pose today. So this very rooting posture, connecting with the root chakra, connecting with the energy of Ganesh. Okay, and then we'll release that side. And we're going to do, this is actually called elephant pose. You've probably done it 100 times and not known it as that. But we'll just drop the chin to the chest and roll down through the spine, bone by bone. And do give yourself a break and bend the knees if necessary here, especially depending on your week. And then your arms are your elephant trunk, and you can swing them and move them around here. And then we'll slowly roll up through the spine, knees bent. Coming all the way up, right? And then we'll do that tree pose on the other side. So toes stay on the ground is one option. Toes at the inside of the calf, below the knee, or foot above the knee. And you can use that Ganesh mudra again if you want. So this mudra, this Ganesh mudra, is a mudra for courage. And I think it really takes courage to face your obstacles head on, to really look at them and to connect with your inner wisdom to find ways around the obstacles in your life. It takes a great deal of courage. And I commend all you spiritual warriors on the path. Oh, really? So Ninka says that Ganesha's eyes are concentration. And so that's a good one for focus in tree pose. And I heard too that Ganesha's, while we're on the sense organ, body parts, the ears are big ears so that he can listen and hear our supplications. Yeah. And our cameraman just said he doesn't like mice, but actually Ganesh has a mouse. The mouse is his little symbol that's with him all the time, and it has it has to do with humility, that he's willing to be associated with the lowest animal on the planet, right? Okay. Elephant pose again. Chin to chest will roll down through the spine. Yeah, that's a good idea. We can spread our toes when we're down here too. And then we'll roll up through the spine, bone by bone. Okay, great. All right, so what we're going to do now is, Nika calls this yoga mudra pose. I call it rabbit or hare pose. So you'll probably want to have a blanket for on your mat or something soft anyway, because we're going to be on the tops of our heads. Or you may want to just double up your mat. That would be fine too. So I actually really like the way you taught this one the last time I was in your class, and I've been teaching it the way you teach it recently, which is a little different from the way I've been teaching it. And Ninka's going to show how to do it with a strap too. I like to do it without the strap, so I'll show you without the strap, and Ninka will show you with the strap. So the way Ninka teaches it, why don't you do it and I'll talk them through it.
Okay. So why don't we just start by the hand?
Okay, so the hand part is the yoga mudra. I like to broaden and widen my chest and then do the lift.
If you're holding the strap, try and keep the palms facing inward.
So if you're holding the strap, keep those palms facing inward. Okay. Maybe this isn't how I remember you doing it. Okay, so how are you going to come into it?
Well, that was just to get that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Before we go down.
Yeah, so that's the arm position once we get into place. Okay.
So from here, knees a little bit open.
So a little bit open in the knees, hip width apart.
Yeah. And then just hinge of the hip forward. And we'll just find a position for the blanket for the head. So the forehead comes on the floor first, then roll right up onto the top of the head, the back of the neck.
So she starts on her forehead, then she rolls onto the top of the head, and then you can see right here, this is really key, that the back of the neck is straight. And that is what a lot of people do, is place their forehead on the ground, and that's really dangerous for your neck. So you put the top of the head on the ground with the hands on either side.
You just want to check, is that okay? If you were
So checking and seeing if it's okay to take the hands off. And it would be totally fine to actually stay in this pose with the hands on the ground, because it is a lot. The top of the head is tender. Yeah.
and then the hip.
And just,
Some people do that, right?
yeah.
The rabbit, I think. Yoga mudra.
Oh. So hips right over the knees. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so what I've been doing actually is even just starting here with my hands, almost like a cat pose with my hands a little wider than my shoulders, and then placing my head straight down. That's how I've been doing it lately. And then it just gets rid of all that confusion of rolling onto the top of your head if you're already there. That's what I've been finding. And then I take my hands behind my back and interlace them. I still do that kind of anusura spiral where you roll the shoulders back and up. And then I lift my arms. This pose is sometimes called poor man's headstand too. Did you know that? Because apparently it's accessible for everybody, whereas headstand maybe necessarily isn't. This feels crunchy today. So if it's feeling crunchy, you don't want to stay in it. Not that long. It could be from doing it all week too. It will come out. And then because the neck does get compressed in a pose like that, you want to do some neck rolls a little bit after that. Ooh, there we go. I bet everybody heard that. Okay. All right. So this class is also known as Ninka's favorite pose class. Not. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our bellies, lie down on your bellies. We're going to do half locust, just with one leg at a time and then the other, and then we'll do full locust. So I'll stay up and talk us through it because that'll just for efficiency, and you can watch Ninka. So you're going to rest the forehead on the ground. And we'll just do the legs to begin. So we'll inhale here and exhale with the left leg first, because that tends to be the weaker of the two legs. Lengthen it long until it reaches off the ground. And nice correction there. So you want to keep pelvic tilting. What you will notice is just show what you did at the beginning. And yeah, see how her pelvis lifted and tipped forward, so the low back is shortening. And then she just, yes, lengthened, reaching. I like to think about reaching all the way, if you think about the iliopsoas muscle, reaching all the way from, where that muscle starts below the rib cage, down through the hip and down through the leg. That helps me to find a lot of length in it. And you could have your hands down and back by the sides of the body like Ninka does, or you could even just bring them up and rest them at the forehead right now while we just bring some focus to the legs for now. It's your choice. Because Ninka's getting a really nice back workout there too. Okay, so release that leg down and maybe just wiggle those hips a little bit side to side. Yeah, give your upper body a rest. We'll engage it in a bit. Okay, and then we'll lengthen long through the right leg so much that it reaches off the ground. And just feel the difference between the two legs. Does your right leg feel stronger? Yeah. This is what I've been noticing. Yeah, I think, the other reason why I make you do this pose all the time is because it's one of our poses that we have to do every day right now for Phoenix Rising. So, if I have to do it, we all have to do it. Oh, I've already done it a million times this week, that's why. I'm intimately connected with locust pose, let me tell you. I actually really like it now. Okay, so Ninka's done that side. So what I've been finding is there's such a huge disparity between the two legs that what I've been doing is going back to that left leg again. So just the left leg, inhale, and exhale, lengthen long through the left leg until it reaches off the ground. Very good. And then you can slowly lower that down. Okay. And then we'll add the arms. And so Ninka and I do the arms differently, but we'll do Ninka's arms today. So Ninka does palms up. Yeah. You do palms down. Yeah. So Ninka does palms down and arms to the side a bit. One thing, can you just come down, because I really think this is helpful for people because so many people have shoulders that round forward. So you can have your arms out to the side with the palms down, but roll the shoulders back and up. Do that kind of inner spiral, yeah, and then lift, yeah. And that is just so helpful. It sets it up a lot for the pose. Actually, do you feel like your heart's more open in this one? Yeah, it looks more open, yeah. That's what I thought. You call it boat. Yeah. I do locust with the hands by the palms facing and reaching. Oh. We're going to have to look it up in Iyengar's book. I wonder what the Phoenix Rising version is supposed to be. I could have been doing it wrong for an entire 2 months. Okay, sit back on your heels, child's pose. Good girl. It's great to strengthen the back of your body, your masculine side. Ganesh is a male deity, so we'll connect with the male aspect of ourselves. And then having that female aspect of ourselves opening to the ground, connecting with the earth energy. I had such a great guest on my radio show this week. I really want to plug it so that you guys can go and listen to it. I had Deb Shapiro on. She has this book called Your Body Speaks Your Mind. And she really, she doesn't just say this means this, that means that. She gives you all the tools to go in and look at what's going on in your body and to understand it. And part of this is front and back of the body, left and right side, where the joint is in the body and all this. And she was just fascinating. So I really encourage you to go and check that interview out. It was a great interview. We had a few callers too, and they called in and asked about specific things. So we got talked through the process quite a few times, which I think would be really cool to listen to. So if you go to melissawest.com, you can click on the radio link and find the archives there. All right. So locust. Then you're going to come up to seated, and we're going to do a seated twist. So we'll bring the legs out long in front. And we'll slide the left leg in and wrap the right arm around the left leg and lift the spine up nice and tall, straight line from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head, taking the left hand at the base of the spine, lengthening the spine up. And then we'll come back center, extending the left leg out, sliding the right leg in, wrapping the left arm around the right leg, and lifting up nice and tall. Okay, we'll come back center. Let's extend that right leg out again. We'll slide the left leg in and open the left knee. We're going to do Janu Sirsasana, and it can be quite nice to lift the pelvis here. So sitting up on a blanket or a bolster is good here. Okay, so let me just tell you what I see all the time in this pose. You probably do in your classes too, is this. And you can't breathe. The spine's not straight. And I don't know how energy can move in the body that way. So the way I really focus in this pose is on keeping the spine nice and long, inhaling, exhaling, hinging from the hips, reaching the heart beyond the knee. And straps can be great too. But for a long time in my classes, I had a no hands on the leg policy. You're not even allowed to touch it. So some of you may be able to rest your forehead on your shin, but they tend to be the exception in class rather than the rule. Yeah. And I have to say that in my own yoga practice, that forward folds, I don't know if I really want to say obstacle, but have been a real challenge in my practice. And so because of that, they've become a real focus, and I've had to find ways around it and ways to work with it. So in fact, ultimately, that kind of obstacle has made me a better teacher because I'm able to teach the pose better. As opposed to when you can just come into a pose and other people can't, you think, how can you have no idea how to teach it because you can just do it. My mom used to tell me that about math because I was having so much trouble with it. I would understand it better. It never really worked out. I just married somebody who understands it better. Okay, left leg goes long, right leg opens. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Great. And honor your own body. So forward folds are also a place where we can get those injuries in yoga too. So go easy. Forward folds are about turning inward, and so we can connect with that inner wisdom and knowledge. Yeah, you could, except for the fingers have to go above the foot, and it's better if they come from behind. Yeah, it kind of hurts and feels weird. Okay, let's come up to seated. And we'll come to a seated cross-legged position to finish. Gonna finish with that Ganesh mudra again. And the left hand turns out, right hand's turn in, you hook the hands. Shoulders back and down, spine nice and long. And we'll inhale, exhale, pull the hands apart. We'll do that 6 times in total. Inhale, exhale, pull apart. Inhale, exhale, pull apart. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, gently pull. One more, inhale, exhale, and then bring the hands to rest on the heart center. Okay, so we'll finish this way, and just bring to mind that obstacle that you chose to allow to simmer through the class, and consider how it shows up in your everyday life. Then connect with your inner wisdom, that inner Ganesh of wisdom and knowledge that already exists within you. And see if there's a first step, maybe a small step towards the solution, or a way around that obstacle. And consider how you could take that first very small step in the next day. Just a small thing, so it's totally achievable. So you're carrying your yoga with you off the mat and into the world this week. And then we'll bring our hands to prayer position with that space between the palms. And you can just set that intention right in that space for safekeeping this week. And we'll finish by greeting each other with Namaste. Namaste. I honor the light and the wisdom and the knowledge within you. Thank you, Ninka. And thank you, Tim, for doing the videography. And thank you, Dave and Vic from Prima Clothing, for giving us these awesome t-shirts, which feel so good. So have a great week, and we'll see you next week for Shiva.